Now, community members in Mahikeng have barricaded some roads in the city and torched several vehicles. eNCA's Lirandzu Themba is trying to get into Mahikeng, but we understand that roads into the town are blocked. She joins us now. Lirandzu, how far have you managed to go, given the disruptions that you've experienced along the way?
Well, the first attempts to get into Mahikeng were quite challenging, if I might put it that way, coupled with protesters really threatening the media that was gathered there and also other motorists, saying that they do not want us to be accessing the town. But we obviously had to make a plan and use another entrance. I am here by a place called Topville. I'm just going to move away where you can see what's happening behind us. But essentially, it's mostly youngsters that are gathered here, Joanne. They are from a settlement, an informal settlement, just a couple of meters away from where we are stationed now. These residents here are quite clear on their demands. They're saying that this place does not have enough services. They are quite fed up with what's going on with regards to them asking for clinics, asking for hospitals and not getting anything. I've got a resident with me right now who can maybe just elaborate on what exactly are the residents complaining about. Abuti ukai. Kupa ore botse hore ho tsalang mona ho baneng letsa so
re tletse mona mama mona go tla go batla ditirelo khanya rona go re batla ditirelo rena le over 15 years re ntse re batla ditirelo tse re santse re beile letsogo mo matlhole ka bojanong. So every time or na go ngwe le ngwe re dula ntse ntse go itshoke so re itshokile we are enough. On top re nela ba etele dipele ba ba sena nnete ba ile ora sena re ba eteletsa go pele ba bua gape tla go nna re ke bone gape ba buang ba re digela go tlase ba ja madi a puso ba tshwantse ba re irele ka ona.
Abutwaka a re bua mole o rile premier lona ya le disappoint ho baneng
wa re disappointa because of o sala tsentso re mo pegile mo stilong ka gore utlo gore tlhabolela Northwest instead of e tlhabologe ha e tlhabologe e wela go tlase.
So le batla hore etsang le batla hore o etselang hona jwanong
re batla gore mo metele dipilo wa rona wa Northwest a boele mo fatshe a be yo ntshiwa mo stilong sa mo sone re fiwe mo etele dipilo o na le nnete o tla re direla mo Northwest.
Thanks, Abutwaka.
Thank you, Mama.
Just in a nutshell, that was a resident telling us about how they want the Premier of the Northwest to basically step down. And of course, this is the scenes that we've been seeing throughout the day, and where we are seeing community members really taking to the streets, burning tires, using signposts to really, cause a blockade here as well. So the police, as we are looking from that side of me, are approaching and they are trying to keep law and order here, Joanne, but it is quite a task, as you can imagine. We also know that they've had, such a task on their hands, mainly because they've been outnumbered. All these protests are happening in different parts of the Northwest, and of course it is proving to be problematic, not only for the police, but also for the residents of Mahikeng. So let's just go and see what exactly is transpiring on the other side of Mahikeng. But the situation here, Joanne, is quite fluid, as you can imagine. As I've mentioned, protesters here, community members here are really talking about a service delivery issue. They are talking about how it seems as if the Premier, who has been at the helm since 2014, is not giving them the services that they are in need of.
So Lirandzu, you are standing at what looks to be an intersection where people have set up those barricades. Just give us a sense of whether any officials have come out to address their concerns at all.
Sure. So what you're seeing right now, Joanne, is the police really reinforcing and coming into this particular place here in Mahikeng. But the police, as I've said, have been largely outnumbered, but it seems like there has been some sort of reinforcement. I can see a convoy of police vans just coming into this area, obviously trying to clear the area, because for the longest time residents here were not able to access the road and not able to access Mahikeng. But the police have told us that they've they've managed to arrest about 9 people since last night, and they are thinking that this figure will increase at some point. But we also do know that a shop that's selling spare goods and spare parts was looted yesterday. We also know that a security firm has also been looted yesterday. And unfortunately, in a lot of townships in the surrounding areas in Mahikeng, we also know that tuck shops were also looted, and these tuck shops belonging to foreign nationals. We also know that they've also been harassed largely by community members, and many of them have really taken shelter at local police stations. So the police are, have their hands full here, Joanne. But we do know, just talking to the residents here, that the issue remains service delivery. The issue remains that it's residents who feel and believe that they've been really robbed when it comes to the delivery of services in this part of town.
We're looking at the excellent visuals you're bringing us at this point, Lirandzu, and actually literally walking through the streets with our cameraman as we see that debris scattered around on the roads. I mean, the large police contingent rolling in at this hour seems to suggest to us they're expecting even more protest overnight, and that is a time of day, we know, when police find it particularly difficult to monitor the situation.
Certainly. The protest, we know that it did start yesterday, and they carried on well into the evening, Joanne. And just by the sheer size of the reinforcement that we're seeing here, it does seem like police are expecting to really be quite busy with regards to trying to contain the situation. I mean, you can see this is a van that's coming from Rustenburg, and we do know that public order policing have also been deployed here. And we are also seeing police vehicles that are, as I've said, from the Public Order Police Reserve Unit from Pretoria. So it does seem as if police are really not taking any chances here. They are going to try and keep a lid on these very volatile protests that we are seeing. As I've said to you, they're not just happening here where we are stationed, but they are happening in surrounding areas across this province, across Mahikeng to be exact. And we do have reports that we are yet to confirm with the police, Joanne, of some protesters that have even managed to go as far as going towards the Premier's house. But we do wanting to put in those calls to the police just to give us a sense of what exactly transpired here yesterday. The one thing I can confirm, though, is a picture that's been making rounds on social media, which is a McDonald's shop that was burning. Police were able to tell me that that is indeed a fake news. It is not a McDonald's shop here in Mahikeng. It was, of course, suggested that this shop was being burnt as it is part of targeting businesses that belong to Mahumapelo.
So Lirandzu, I'm trying to get a picture as you speak of what is happening behind you and around you at this point. We saw those police vehicles enter the area. We're seeing police actually clear that debris from the road as we speak. Are those civilian vehicles that are now coming through with the protection of police?
Yes, these are the same civilians that we were basically trapped with earlier on, who were really denied the opportunity to make their way to their homes, to their businesses, to their destinations, really, because one, the group that was I was chatting to earlier on, they basically were asking people to pay 20 rands to access this road, and a lot of people obviously not wanting to entertain that, but more than anything, a lot of people not wanting to take the risk of going through a crowd that we actually saw pelt a car that refused to pay with stones. That car did escape this very aggressive crowd, but the visual that you are seeing right now, Joanne, is the motorists that are now quite relieved that they are in the safety of police. Let's try maybe speak to some of the people that are making their way here and see if how long they've been waiting for, what are they feeling, what's their sense really with regards to what's happening here in Mahikeng. Dumelang le kae? Re teng le tswa kae le ya mo kae papa?
Re tswa mo tolo mo re hellela Grachingang.
Ho neng le eme mo le papa?
Ya re go le bakela mo ka le
Ho etsalang mo le tseba hore ho etsalang mo?
na re re maketsela re bona ba ntse ba isela.
Okay, Papa. Well, that's a resident telling me that they are as shocked to see what's happening here with regards to the rubble, with regards to the protest, and the anger that is really just so evident in these streets. But they are quite relieved that they now can make their way to their destinations.
Lirandzu, just one last question perhaps about the policing issue. We've seen that large police contingent come in, but police experts were telling us earlier this morning that the difficulty is people often, they group in an area, they begin their protests and they set up their barricades, and then once police disperse them, they move into other areas and then regroup in various different areas. So the area that police essentially have to monitor becomes a very vast surface area, doesn't it?
It certainly does, Joanne, because on the other side of town, that is exactly what we saw, where we saw that the same protesters were really taking law into their own hands to a point where they were threatening the very media that's here to really just hear their problems and basically broadcast to the world. Obviously, with the lack of understanding of what our role is when we come to these situations. But it's not just about the media, it's also about the anger that they're projecting to the world, to the streets here. Is quite evident, even just off camera, speaking to the residents of this area, which is Toyville. It is quite evident that they seem to feel that they deserve much better when it comes to services. I mean, one of the things they mentioned is that there's not even a single school here. They're saying that they don't have clinics, and these are, of course, the most basics of services that you would expect in an area like this, which is just 5 kilometers from Mahikeng town. And it is the same sort of sentiments that we also heard on the other side of town, where we saw those pockets of people who are basically just trying to cause chaos on the streets, hoping that they would get some level of attention from authorities. But of course, that voice keeps on reverberating, which is Super Mahoma Pilu must step down, because they seem to think that he's failed their residents here.